If you don't already know why you need a £1,000,000 idea, then I'll explain it to you now, but it's pretty obvious. Everything starts from an idea or a thought. I explained in my last video, which was about saving and how to use your money when you're young, that every business or multi-million-pound empire, anything like that, it all comes from an idea, and hence the idea is actually what is worth the value. So the easy part is turning the idea into a reality. The hard part is sometimes actually thinking of the idea, especially if you're not a naturally creative person. Having these ideas is therefore the key. And the step 2 is actually how you manifest those ideas and bring them into fruition. But the idea itself is one of the most vital parts of this, because without the idea, you can't build. So us humans have actually been given the gift to think for ourselves. No other animal can do this. We can decide that we want to do something, we want to do this activity or this activity. We can have preferences on a level that other animals can't. We can actually decide to think stuff. If you really master your own brain, you'll be surprised what you can accomplish with your own thoughts. You can stop feeling emotions, you can start feeling emotions, you can create complete fantasy worlds in your mind. I mean, you see some of the mental illnesses that people have and the crazy things that happen to their alternate realities. Your brain's extremely powerful as a human, and you should be using this gift. If you think about an AI model, for example, like ChatGPT, the intelligence of ChatGPT on paper is phenomenal. It can calculate things instantly, it can draw research and compile it, it can explain things to a 5-year-old, it can even write really good stories in seconds, but it's still not on the same tier. We're at the human consciousness tier, AI is here. It's at the top of that tier, it's very clever, but it's just not on the same plane as us. It doesn't have an ego, it doesn't have anything driving it. It has no motives, it just does what it's told. But we are the ones that create those motives because we actually have egos and brains of our own, and we can actually decide what we want in our lives, whereas an AI can't. And that is what your innate value and the best part about being a human is all about, is actually driving your own life and deciding what you want and then going to get it. That's one of the most fun things you can possibly do. So you need to use this to your advantage, and the only way that you have these ideas is when you're in a moment of consciousness and actually in tune and listening to your own thoughts, because a lot of the time these very good ideas are actually just moments of intuition that you'll just think of out of nowhere, seemingly random, but it's actually something that's been calculated and formed in your subconscious mind and then brought to your conscious mind, and you're then aware of it, okay? So all of these ideas, these amazing ideas, all these sort of plans, all of those things come from deep in your brain, and you can't always actually manufacture those ideas yourself. Sometimes it is just your subconscious mind popping a thought into your brain. You probably get intrusive thoughts all the time, or impulsive thoughts to do some crazy stuff. Like you might get the urge to like throw something on the floor or anything like that. I don't know why I chose that example, but you might get impulses and urges all the time, and that's because your subconscious is telling your conscious to do these things. Your subconscious is infinitely intelligent, but I don't want to go too into this. You can have some insane ideas from your subconscious, and you should always listen to them and at least consider them and normally act on them. So think about that. Your subconscious is actually the one creating those ideas. So you need to work on actually listening to your subconscious and giving it a voice that you can understand. A lot of the time, you'll be going through your day-to-day life, staring at your phone, listening to music, listening to podcasts, thinking about what you're going to do next, thinking about what happened yesterday, and you're almost on autopilot all day. You wake up, you do the same thing every single day, and there's not a single moment of presence or actual self-awareness. If you think about what you're doing, sometimes you're sort of brought above the moment, and you're like just looking at the wall, and you're thinking, damn, the wall. I always used to get this. This is kind of funny. I used to be a big gamer back when I was a kid, so a lot of these sort of analogies come from video games. I remember literally walking down the street one day and just thinking, damn, the graphics are crazy. Just looking around thinking, wow, the world is really amazing. If you actually just look at something and deep it, sometimes it's a lot more beautiful than you realize, and you're just constantly so zoned in, you're like scrolling on your phone, playing games, even just in conversation, you're not actually present in the moment. So presence is extremely important if you want to have these subconscious thoughts come into your conscious mind. You have to be in a moment of clarity, a stillness, and you need to not be stimulating yourself with crap from your phone. Integrate these moments into your life. If you're young, for example, in secondary school or sixth form, I don't know what they call it in America, but that sort of stage in your life when you're not fully working or fully at university and you want a part-time job, maybe think about picking a part-time job that isn't going to require you to be super zoned in all the time. Maybe pick a security job, a reception job, somewhere where you're sitting quietly and you're not allowed to use any sort of technology because you're supposed to be alert. Pick something that's actually quite boring, because what this will teach you is how to be in a moment of calm and actually comfortable with a silent and unstimulating environment. This will allow your subconscious to tell you these ideas and bring them up into your brain where you can actually think about them. And in fact, almost all of my best ideas have actually been when I'm bored and I'm just pondering and thinking. So try and get more of these moments into your life. Spend less time constantly stimulating yourself. Maybe walk without music, maybe drive without music. It's hard to think of ideas when you're driving because you are focused, but even just when you wake up in the morning, don't play any music, don't look at your phone for just a little while, and you'll be surprised how much actually bubbles up into your mind. Sometimes this is really helpful, and like I'm saying, these ideas can be sometimes worth millions and can literally change your life. So it's very important that you listen to these ideas and allow them to bubble up. Think about integrating some presence into your life. The next thing I'm going to say is observation. Similar to presence, but it's more about analysing and looking at what other people in the position you want to be in are doing in their lives. Think about what they did, the path that they took, and what the initial idea was. Think about that. Think about the initial root seed of their idea that blossomed into their career, their success, whatever it was. Think about the environment that they were in before they had the idea, and think about how that will have affected their thinking. And try and imagine all of these different seeds so you can sort of identify what a good idea looks like. And when you have that idea, you'll then sort of know, you go, okay, well, it was a bit like this person, it was a bit like this person, but it has to do with me because I am this. And obviously your unique experience will mean that you have different ideas. So that's another thing, observation. Look at other people, other successful people. Look at successful like rappers, musicians, YouTubers, social media stars, businessmen, anyone like that. Just try and think about what sort of ideas they were thinking. Also look at what a lot of people have had multiple different ideas in their career and they sort of changed it over time. So try and think about what was working for them, what was a good idea, what was a bad idea, what mistakes did they make. Analysis and observation is very important, but then also so is presence. Those are two things I would suggest. And an exercise you can do to think about what your unique idea could look like and kind of get this ball moving, because a lot of the time you need to direct your subconscious, you need to tell it that you want more ideas. So a good way of doing this, if you sit down with a pen and paper and write out all of your innate assets that you've got in your life. I'm not talking about physical objects, I'm talking about in your mind. Any unique experience you've had, any unique knowledge that you have, or even not unique knowledge. Maybe you're at a stage in life where you're studying a lot of stuff for your A-levels or studying something in school. You are a professional in that area and you know how quickly you forget things. It's unlikely there are actually a lot of people on the same sort of level of understanding as you in your specific part of your life that you're in right now. This is why I started recording these videos. I am so obsessed with learning how to make money that right now I'm at a stage where I have a lot of information in my brain, and by the time I actually do make money, I will have forgotten a lot of this because it's not going to be relevant to me anymore. That's why I'm trying to record these videos while all this info is in my mind. Think about what info is in your mind right now, what are you working towards, and what is the professional area that you're actually in, and write that down on a piece of paper. Also write down any dreams and aspirations you have, write down what you find fun, what you do for hobbies, what doesn't feel like work, write down all your friends and family, think about other people that also are driven and want things and what they have, and sort of make a plan of this. This will just stimulate more ideas to come into your brain because you'll actually understand what you actually have and the innate value that you've got in your mind. I would say the most important thing is knowledge and skills. If you have any unique knowledge or skills, that's a great place to start. Get those down on a piece of paper. And then once you've written them down, don't worry if you don't think of any ideas. Just make sure you're present over the next few days because your subconscious will instantly start working away and thinking about ideas related to those assets that you have. Right. The next part is if you're young, like me. We have a very different set of advantages and disadvantages as someone older than us. So for example, we have basically unlimited energy, which is amazing, but we also don't have a lot of experience, and we've kind of just become conscious only a few years ago. So it's kind of like we're going to make a lot more mistakes. Okay, but we have got a lot of energy, so we can kind of just go balls to the walls, and then as soon as we face a problem, just fix it and carry on going. But it's really important you're reflective in these situations. But when it comes to ideas, being young is also useful because we're often a lot more creative, and we also have a little bit more free time and optimism. We've got that insatiable ambition of wanting to achieve something, which I get the impression definitely peters off as you get older. So use that. And I think your subconscious is probably more active when you're young as well. So those ideas should come a little bit easier. We also have a lot more time to think of ideas. If you're like a teenager, you've literally got 10 years to think of an idea, and you still have time to execute it and become successful. But make sure you're listening to your mind and also acting on those ideas when you have them. I would say if you have a good idea and you think it's $1 million idea, just go for it. Start now. Just go for it, start working on it, see what happens, make mistakes, learn from it, write down your lessons. Was this idea a good idea? What were the problems with this idea? How can I improve it? But just start straight away as soon as you have that idea, or at least write it down somewhere. As you write these ideas down, it will make it easier to think of more ones in the future. And the final thing is, you need to improve your level of consciousness. This sounds crazy, but trust me, it's true. Do meditation, do journaling, and spend time away from stimulation, and you can actually get better at being self-aware, and you can even control your mental states. And that's not a level of mastery that I'm at yet, but I'm getting there. I can now fully sort of, in an environment or situation that would used to stress me out or make me angry, I can just totally step away from that and look at it from an above perspective. And I believe over time I'm going to be able to tap into more mental states artificially. So increase your level of consciousness, especially if you're someone that gets very caught up in the moment. This will help with thinking of ideas because you'll be able to put yourself in that state of creativity and thinking of ideas easier. I remember I was sat in a lecture yesterday at university and just was thinking, I'm too cooked to actually do any more work here. It was a very technical sort of mathsy lesson and I was just pretty drained. So I was thinking, how can I actually make some money right now? And what I did was I sat down and I thought of some ideas. And the ideas were these videos that I'm literally recording now. I've got a whole list of videos that I wrote down in that 10 minutes. And that idea could have made me, this video could make me money. And those ideas could make me money or at least grow the channel. So in that 10 minutes, that could have been like a £1,000 an hour moment right there. So you can, if you're in these moments of consciousness, you can have more ideas. So I'd definitely say to work on that. Now, once you've got your $1 million idea, now it's the tricky part. Now you actually have to execute it. And this takes a lot of time. If you want a video on how to follow your dreams, I'm going to make one of those soon. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.